Okay, then what we're going to look at is we're going to look at Chuck versus Randy in the first fight. And we're going to look at a very, very basic blast double, but I'm going to show you the intricacies there. I mean, there are some little intricacies to it. It's not going to take long because the takedown doesn't take long. I mean, if we look at the length of the takedown, boom. Okay, so it's not going to take particularly long to get through, but I'm going to try and get you through the details as I rewind. Okay. I've got a bit of a cold, so if I sound a bit snotty, I'm sorry. We have Randy. We have Chuck. Chuck is trying to stand up, and Randy's trying to take him down, and that's the name of the game in this. Chuck is a very fantastic... Is that a sentence? I don't know. He's a really good anti-wrestler. He wants to get up and stick stuff in Randy's face, and Randy wants to take him down and bash him on the floor. So we're going to just look at a power double now, as done by the mighty Randy Couture. So at the moment, he is waiting. He is asking, "Dear Chuck, please throw me a right hand." So he's working on this cross coming through, and look at that nice head movement, pats the hand to the side. And if you go and if you were training with Randy at this point, then this was one of his methods of getting in, moving the hand to the side, bit of head movement. Doesn't really change level, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. I mean, with a power double leg, you would expect to just kind of blast into the body, but there's a little bit more technique to it than this with Randy. Okay, so the right hand comes through, and Randy doesn't really do very much to change level. He kind of believed that you didn't have to change level too much to get down to here. It was he never put a knee down or anything like that. He would just use his technique to get it around the corner, and he worked it for MMA. So we see him grab hold of Chuck's hip. Chuck automatically has no defense. He can't, at this point, he can't sprawl. So Randy's taken the sprawl away from him. Right, one of the little details that I will add to this is Randy would always put his head just about where the shoulder and armpit was. All right? And one of the reasons he would do this is because his head couldn't be grabbed. So when he shot in, his head would be here, which meant that if Chuck wanted to get over the top of the head, he would literally take his center of gravity up over Randy's head, which would be a very silly thing to do. So one of the things that Randy did do, or taught, was to keep your head on kind of the shoulder so that it didn't actually pop underneath here. So that's one of the details. Secondly, at this moment, he's just grasping for something to hold on to Chuck, so he's not really got a decent grip here. He's not changed level, so he's not going to be able to get down to the knees, but what he is going to do is he's going to start to drive Chuck. And here we see the start of the drive. Now he's driving with his head, and he's driving with his shoulder. And we're going to see Chuck have his body alignment changed by this drive, because what is happening now is Randy is sucking the hips in with his arms, driving with his head, and he's going to put his shoulder in a position which is going to offset Chuck's center of gravity. So Chuck is looking for an underhook, which he can't get in because this head's on his bicep. So it's another reason why Randy's head is in the right spot. And we'll move a little bit more forward. I'm trying to make this as quick as I can. We see the underhook go in, but that head's stopping it being an effective underhook. And now we've got Randy pushing up into the breadbasket. So what he's doing is he's pulling the hips in, and he's slid his chest up to the solar plexus area. So what he's trying to do is he's trying to act this like a fulcrum. So he's trying to push the back in this direction, and he's trying to pull the hips in this direction. All right, and part of this is what he's going to do now is he's going to make Chuck run out of legs. So Chuck is running backwards, and what Randy wants to do is to make him run out of legs. So he's got 2 legs, so basically he makes him run out of legs. So we're going to keep the drive, and now we're going to see this left arm slide down just to the back of the thigh. What he just needs to do is he just needs to slow down the ability for Chuck to put that post down in time to stop himself falling over. And he doesn't hang on to this. he just slows down that time. He just slows down. So when this foot is put down, it's already underneath, or his centre of gravity is already passed over the top of it. So all the weight is on this foot for Chuck now, and he's going to run him backwards, and he's going to transfer his weight. And now he's just waiting for Chuck to try and put that foot that he's grabbing on the floor. So you can see what he's doing. As soon as Chuck has put down this foot, he's lifting this thigh, he's bringing it in tight to his body, and he's turning Chuck's weight in this direction slightly with his ear and his head. He's taking all the weight off this leg and putting it on this leg. So now we're going to see Chuck try and put his foot down in time. But the problem with the placement of the foot is his centre of gravity is already over here, and his foot is already, his centre of gravity is already past his foot. So this post would really need to be about here, or here, to kind of stop him falling over. So at this moment in time, Chuck has no weight on his feet. Randy has exploded as he's done this, and he's also moved up Chuck's body, and he's thrown himself in this direction. So he's not shooting perfectly backwards. He's trying to actually shoot kind of cross body, so that he's even less weight on this foot when it's put down. If Chuck had managed to get this foot down, the possibility is that he still would not have been able to get his weight underneath him. So he drives with his ear, he throws himself into the takedown, and he controls the hips, slides his hands down to control the hips, head over head, and he's in a perfect control position. So that is the father of wrestling in MMA, Mr. Couture, the man who can have a heart attack and not notice, do his takedown. So in full speed, beautiful. Okay, so that is power double, probably the most sort of earliest kind of form of MMA variants on the power double. I love it. I think it's brilliant. So add it to your game if you can. And thanks very much. Bye.